Hey there, everybody. Destin Gary here. So, kind of a cool video today. I asked Halo Canon Ian to join me on the show, and this is sort of because a lot of people said that I was way off base on the new AI and sort of my personal reaction to her. And I was like, well, if I'm off base, I'm a fairly casual fan. Yes, I read the first few books, right? Like Fall of Reach is
hmm
great. Uh,
hmm
Contact Harvest, early the first 5 books or so I read a long, long time ago. So much as there's 30 books now in the Halo universe. So
Depending on
there's
how you divide that up, yeah.
yeah, there's a lot going on. And first of all, thank you so much for joining me. People who don't know, you're like the Halo lore master, right?
People have referred to me as such. I try not to humble brag about that kind of thing, though. But
But you know a lot about Halo lore. You've read the
yes,
books. You know as much as anybody probably could who's read the books and played the games, right?
I'd
Or
certainly say I'm up there. There are definitely people that are smarter than me, but that's part of the fun is learning new things from different people and all that. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me.
great.
Love that.
Well,
Makes for great conversation.
what the questions that I have, and
hmm
after I released my just live reaction talking about the new trailer, I guess let's start there. So, what was your reaction to the the campaign reveal? It seemed positive to me.
Yeah. I mean, overall, very, very, very positive. There was a lot of imagery in there that I really loved. Just opening on the classic Halo CE Cortana, but in 2021 graphics was that alone just gripped me. I rag on nostalgia sometimes, but I'm as much a victim to it as anyone else. But yeah, and then all the gameplay they showed off. Obviously I have my criticisms here and there, but overall, it looked great. So I'm excited to play this.
I'm really really excited. What did you think about the open world nature of it? And if I seem a little distracted, it's because I'm trying to do
That's
live switching while having a conversation. So that
all
happens.
good. Yeah. Um, I am definitely open to it. I'm curious, like how open world it will really be. Like, uh, I think it was last year, right after the July 2020 demo, they brought in a bunch of press and different groups to talk to the developers and just ask questions and stuff, and then we were able to go report on it. But somebody had asked if Halo Infinite would have like a traditional campaign mission select like in most Halo games. They did say yes at that time. Obviously, things might have changed since then, but that's what they said then. And so it sounds like it's. I'm wondering if it's less a huge open world, and more a series of large open play spaces. But whatever it tends to be, it at least looks really cool. It looks like you're not going to have a whole lot of empty space that you're just driving through forever. It looks like there's always going to be something going on. That repeated 30 seconds of fun, as Halo is known for. So, yeah, I'm on board.
Well, the main reason and the main criticism that I had in the I'm excited to play it. Like I'm gonna
Mhm.
play the heck out of Halo Infinite. But I have a lot of questions about like where does the story stand right now? And one of the main questions that I've just been really curious about,
Mhm.
uh, Cort- they seem like they're saying that Cortana's dead. Is she dead? Because as of, and I was taking some notes before recording this, uh,
Mhm.
2559, Halo Infinite takes place. I saw you actually tweeted on this thread. It's guesstimated 2560, 2561, a few months potentially after the events of Shadows of Reach to a full
Yep.
year after Shadows of Reach. And now she's dead. Is she dead? Is she alive? Because like a year ago, before these
Yeah.
events, she was chasing Infinity all over the galaxy. What's going on
Yep.
there?
That is, I think, going to be one of the core mysteries that we're going to solve in Halo Infinite. Um, they're definitely setting it up to for us to expect that she's dead, but that could very easily be a red herring of any sort. Uh, she's alive somewhere. There's a fragment of her. Some fans have theorized that Cortana has actually disguised herself as this new AI and actually deleted that and is just playing dumb.
Hmm.
Uh, which that is entirely possible as well.
That's kind of
Uh,
what I mean, sorry to
yeah,
interrupt you, but
no, please.
honestly, the thing that bothered me is I'm like, Cortana has always been this very strong, equal to Chief in intelligence, right?
Hmm.
She's an AI, she's brilliant, she does all these things, and she paired so well with the Chief. Their dynamic together is just excellent, and I've always really liked that. So we get
Yep.
this new character who comes in, and I refer to as dumb. I think naive is the
Yeah.
more correct word to use,
Yeah.
because there are dumb AIs in the Halo universe, and
Yeah.
that's a term that is used in the lore. And is she a smart AI or a dumb AI? First of all, like what category does she fall into? New Cortana, the weapon.
Yeah. Near as we can tell, obviously this hasn't been, or no, I think it actually has been stated that she's a smart AI. Uh, don't quote me on that, but I feel like they did say that at some point. But even if they haven't, that is most likely what she is, the smart AI. So the ones that can be creative, think for themselves, and the ones that have a limited lifespan.
Is she past her rampancy? Because rampancy is at 7 years. Uh, like we just not know enough about the weapon right now? Because my whole theory is exactly what you said. She's a red herring. She's playing dumb, and she's stronger than she's letting on.
Well, what we can't say with certainty is that she wasn't created until sometime after Halo: Shadows of Reach. So she'd be very new and not or nowhere near at risk of rampancy. But I think even her naive nature, so even she was like created, let's say 6 months prior to the game, I don't think she was active. Well, actually, I just remembered, I forgot in the most recent that reveal that they said there was a 6 month gap between the start of Infinite and whatever happened at Zeta Halo. So
Well,
I guess she was
just
created immediately after and then immediately sent out to Zeta Halo. Sorry. Just
Zeta Halo is the new ring, right?
yeah, that's the ring that the game will be set on.
Okay,
Installation 07.
got it.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
So
It's like
she's really new. She's like 6 months old.
yeah, yeah, like at most, or she's at the oldest. She's 6 months. Yeah, 6 months old,
Okay, yeah. Some of the
or at the
commenters
youngest. But
some of the
I'm
commenters were saying like she's basically brand new, fresh out of the box. She's a baby, and I guess that
in a
assumption is
lot of
actually
ways. Yeah,
correct. But like,
yeah.
how do you know that? Because I like I played Halo 5 and I'm like coming into Infinite
Hmm.
and I'm fairly lost because I haven't been keeping up on the books. I'm trying to catch up now, and I'm just sort of wondering like what's like the basic info about these new AIs that you feel like players might not know and probably should know going in? Because I how am I how would I have known that she's a new AI that's 6 months old? I must have missed it in a blog post or something, right?
Yeah, it's kind of just stuff that we could piece together through context clues, essentially. Um, like her naive nature really lends to the idea that she's got to be very new, recently created, and also leads to a couple other assumptions about her, like she's very locked down for a smart AI, so she's got a lot less freedom than a smart AI would normally have. But um, from that, not just from that, but when we get into the story of Halo: Shadows of Reach, there's a whole lot of deep lore that goes into this, I guess. But basically, I'll try and sum this up really quick. When Cortana was created, she was created from a cloned brain of her creator, Dr. Halsey, from Halo 4, Halo Reach, and Halo 5 in that weird order. Uh, um, but she didn't just Halsey didn't create just one clone. She created several, but only one became Cortana, and she kept a few of the others for what she expected to be future experiments. That never happened because obviously Reach fell.
Yeah.
We all played that game, I think, or read that book, or both, and they just got left there. And then Shadows of Reach has Master Chief and Blue Team go down to Reach to recover those, and something else that stays equally mysterious if you aren't familiar with all this backstory.
That they don't
But
clarify what that something else was. So Shadows of Reach, I
yeah,
actually looked through the passage where
hmm,
Chief and I believe it's Kelly go get
yep,
something. They run into what they think is Kamiya, but isn't. It's like a
a leftover like security program that she made.
yeah. And basically they put in a passphrase to bypass it.
Hmm.
But the warning sign vanished, but in its place, set in the door's matte finish, appeared an image of a middle-aged woman who bore a sisterly resemblance to Cortana. It's not Kamiya, which is just who is Kamiya?
So Calmia was this another smart AI that Dr. Halsey utilized in her years of work, and she is considered an older sister to Cortana because the like Covenant intrusion subroutines and whatnot, like all this uh, code and software that was supposed to let Cortana be this ultimate Covenant hacker and whatnot, that was tested on Calmia first before it was given to Cortana. So that's how they're sisters, even though there's no relationship between whose ever brain created Calmia as brain. That's how smart AI are created. Wow, I keep bringing up stuff that I probably don't need to. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No, this
Yeah,
is just a casual conversation.
yeah.
Think of it
I'm
like
trying to
you're
keep it simple as I can, and I
no,
keep
you're fine.
not
You're
doing
fine.
that.
Think of
Okay.
it like you're trying to catch a friend up. Like, here's everything that's
Yeah,
happened. And if you got to go like explain a whole bunch of stuff,
yeah.
I'm game. I'm curious. I want to
All
know
right.
more because I'm not really that
Okay.
informed about what's happened in the books, right? So you're
Yeah.
being totally fine. Don't worry about
All
it
right.
at all.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So
Is Kamiya
sorry. Go
dead?
ahead.
Was she deleted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she was deleted as part of it was called Operation White Glove, and it was just Oni's ditch attempt at the fall of Reach to make sure none of their data fell into Covenant hands. So
Got
she
it.
had to be deleted as part of that.
Okay.
But yeah, she left this little security program left over in Halsey's lab as like a last last act in case somebody came back.
Yeah, and that program basically kept whatever they dug out of the
Hmm.
rubble intact and okay. And they at the end of
Hmm.
the book they bring that back to Halsey. There's some mentions of the Banished, and then that's it. So
Yeah,
the major what are the major takeaways pertaining to AI specifically? It seems like Shadows of Reach was more about the Banished and what is happening with
yeah,
this new faction, and a little bit less about what has happened with the AI. But the fact that they're there is really cool.
yeah. Yeah, like that's really what Shadows of Reach was. It was they used the excuse to go to Reach to tell this story about the chief going there, talking about the Banished and their internal strife and a little bit of what's going on in the wider galaxy. But as far as AI, like yeah, they pulled out the three what were called three cryo bins, which are used to they tell you in the book are used to store organic material. And then like I said, if you know that deeper lore we kind of touched on just a moment ago, that those are three clones of Halsey's brain ready to create a new Cortana, presumably. And they also pulled out it was called a box with the sword base logo on it. They didn't
Mhm.
really tell you much about that. There are theories out there, but it's right now we couldn't tell you anything definitive. But
Okay.
the general idea is that one of these three cryobins was used to create the weapon, as a basically creating an actual sister for Cortana in a lot of ways, since it's actually from the same donor brain.
And do you think the weapon is one of the AIs that were created? Could there
Yeah,
be two others? Because they have three boxes of
yeah.
clone
Theoretically, there
brains.
always could be. Yeah, there always could be, but I would imagine 343 wouldn't want to. They probably aren't going to like go down that route because they've said they wanted Halo Infinite to be a simple story, a return to not something less complex than Halo 5 or Halo 4, where I would say perceived to be, but that's my bias.
Hmm.
But so there could be other AI created out there, but I don't think they're gonna go that route yet. And they'll probably say something in the books like, "Oh yeah," or in the lore, it's like, "Yeah, she only created the one. They just have the other two in storage in case they need it for something else." That's how I imagine that'll go.
Okay. I mean that sort of makes sense.
Hmm.
What was your reaction to the like? How do you feel about the weapon and how she's naive in nature?
Well, I was very happy to celebrate that I called that back in 2018. Anyway, whatever, it doesn't matter. Um,
You called that she would be
I'm
naive
sorry.
in nature?
Or I called that they would have a Cortana clone of
Oh,
created from another cloned brain of Dr. Halsey. I'm sorry, I should have clarified that. Um, but at the same time, it also lends to some concerns I've had ever since the reaction to Halo 5, and that 343 might want to try and return the Halo series to the old status quo, where it's Chief and his blue AI gallivanting across the galaxy. uh, which wouldn't be too bad in the right context. But I worry that they're gonna like use this new Cortana, the weapon, to basically fix old Cortana, and then by the end of Halo Infinite, we'll have the same Cortana we knew back in Halo CE through Halo 4 back.
You don't want them
And
to do that?
I don't want them to do that because I feel that would be a huge regression after what was a great send off in Halo 4 and obviously a not so great return in Halo 5. But I really liked the ending of Halo 4 and the send off of what I consider the true Cortana.
Mm-hmm.
And, as bad as Halo 5's resurrection of her was, Halo 4 hasn't been ruined for me yet. And I feel that would actually ruin Halo 4 for me. That I say that for me because that's my opinion. Obviously, a lot of people would be very happy to have the old Cortana they knew back, but not me.
My memory of Halo 4 is mostly positive. Not like
Mhm.
the only thing I didn't really love about Halo 4 was like the enemy design. They all seemed, I just didn't like the enemy design particularly. I missed the
No,
Covenant. Yeah. Like
yeah,
how do you feel about the
uh,
Banished and like we're going to be fighting more familiar looking
mhm,
enemy types? How do you feel about that?
yeah. Um, I like the look of pretty much everything we've seen so far as the enemies go. All the species look good. The armors look pretty damn good, especially after this past year of graphical updates. Um, the grunts especially strike a very weird balance between adorable and threatening. I don't know how they did that, but good job. Uh, as for the Banished, I have high hopes for what they could bring to the table. They're like in Halo Wars 2, they had a lot of really cool units. Obviously, you can't bring all of those over. That's an RTS versus a first person shooter, so you have different enemy needs in each game. But it would be cool if they could take some of the ideas that were presented there and maybe try and bring them in, like the different hunter forms that they introduced with Halo Wars 2. That would be something that's really cool. But at the
Um,
moment, it seems like they're just kind of being used. Oh, don't want to hit my mic there.
you're fine.
uh, at the moment, though, it feels like they're just kind of there to be a new covenant, a new interesting alien enemy to fight. Uh, it could be very interesting. It's not what I personally wanted, but I had some very weird wants after Halo 5 compared to I imagine most people wanted. So
Well,
if you want the out there response, that's me.
I had a few other questions just about
Hmm.
the main enemy's name is.
Oh, well, the leader of the Banished is Eshram, and then they're aligned with that new enemy they just talked about the other day, Harbinger.
Got it.
Yeah.
Um, what was the fate of the lead enemy in Halo Wars?
Well, Atriox was still alive, and actually, Shadows of Reach talks about him coming back to our galaxy. That's what the Banished are up to in that book.
Mm-hmm.
So he's alive and well, at least as of Shadows of Reach. As of Halo Infinite, there's been some debate about whether or not he's alive, because some people think that he might be people might think he's dead because Escharum says we honor the will of Atriox, which kind of sounds like we're honoring the will of someone who's no longer here. So maybe they think he's dead because there's no way they'd kill Atriox off screen. Not for real. That would be he was such a huge popular character after Halo Wars 2, so that they're not going to do that.
Well, he just 1v1s a Spartan and
Yeah,
dominates them. I saw that clip going around
1v3s them.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
that's always so much fun to watch.
yeah, that was a really cool scene, and I like that we have a foe that's an equal in terms of strength, but
Hmm.
also this new villain seems also intelligent. I loved
Hmm.
seeing the narrative aspect when they did a tweet with the movie in it showing the new leader of the Banished just like giving a
Yeah,
speech,
yeah.
and I'm like, if that's the kind of storytelling we can expect, I am all in. And
Yes.
just generally speaking, like the evocative nature of how Chief is reacting in these cutscenes, like
Hmm.
the one from not that long ago when he like pauses and near the dead UNSC soldier and he
Hmm.
grabs the weapon. It's like he's
Yep.
expressing a lot of emotion.
Oh my god.
I've personally really enjoyed that. Has that been your take also?
Yes. Especially back at E3 when we got that campaign trailer. the whole sequence with the chief floating through space as the narration goes on just blew me away. It's everything I could have wanted. From I guess for specifically as far as Chief's body language goes, because you know like you were talking about, he when he sees these dead Marines, he's very respectful with them, moving them out of the way gently. Then you see him with Covenant bodies, just get out of my way, guys. It's like it's this subtle thing that you can notice or you completely miss, like I did the first time. But
Well, you probably dive right
it's
into like
I've
all the little details that most people aren't going to
yeah,
pick
and then
up on.
sometimes
And
I
then you
miss the
watch it
macros
again and you
sometimes.
kind of get the overall
Hmm.
context of tone,
Yep.
right? I totally get where you're
Yeah.
coming from.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so I think it's been really good. And I was very relieved, or I shouldn't say relieved, but I was very happy with this recent reveal or overview trailer where they confirmed that the chief would be talking during gameplay again. Which that's something I personally loved about Halo 4 and 5, and I was worried they might not have that in Halo Infinite, but it seems that they will. So I am very happy to see that.
I'm going to throw a whole bunch of questions at you now.
Please,
And
I'll
so,
do my best to answer.
okay, I'm curious where's, I think it's Linda, Kelly, and Fred, I believe, were the
Hmm.
team he was rolling with in Shadow Reach.
Yep.
At the end of 5, the ring was intact, I believe, and now it has a
Yep.
huge hole in it, as you can see
Yep.
in the footage. What happened with the ring? Um, and let's start with those two first. And like,
Yeah.
at what point do you think the new armor set was made? Because in Shadow of Reach, I do not believe he has the new armor set. I think that happens
Oh no,
sometimes in the they've
they
clarified
actually
that
do.
one.
Yeah, they do. You actually see the new the armor set on the cover. So you actually get to see all of Blue Team in their new armors on on or to see what their new armors look like on the cover there, which is actually pretty close to how they looked in the package from Halo Legends, the anime short from 2010, I think it was.
It's new
But
armor, but it looks like the older armor, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, basically, or it looks like one of the old armors, or however you want to. Yeah, it looks like the old armor. I'm sorry.
It's
I
Mjolnir
weirdly split
like
hairs sometimes without meaning to, and I realize, wait a minute, why am I bringing this up? This is stupid. Shut up, Ian.
no no
Nobody
no.
cares about this. You don't care about
I
this.
care about it. I want to
Okay, fair
know.
enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah.
I was gonna say it looks like one of a specific one, just because there's so many different versions that they've worn over the years. That's all. That's all
Mhm.
it was
Well,
alluding to.
we're
But
on like Mjolnir 6. Is
Gen 3, but it's Mark 6 Gen 3, and then the Spartan 4s are wearing Mark 7 Gen 3.
so what is this one?
This is what the Chief has is called Mark 6 Gen 3.
Got it.
And then presumably Blue Team are wearing different variants of it.
Okay.
Because they all, at the very least, have different helmets to set them apart.
Uh
But
okay. What about the ring? What happened with the ring? So like it's not blowing up at the end of 5.
mhm.
Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Now it's all blowing up real good.
Mhm.
Where did that happen?
Well, 6 months prior to the start of the game, like here's what we do know. There was some kind of conflict happening on installation 07. Now, in one of the articles they've released on Halo Infinite over the last several months, said specifically characterized the Battle of Installation 07 as the Banished ambushing the UNSC while they were there. And then there's also the weapons mission was to be brought to someplace on installation 07. She was supposed to imitate Cortana in order to draw the ruler of the galaxy in and then trap her. So I guess the UNSC, it seems like the UNSC were doing that, trying to capture Cortana, and then the Banished came in. Some big old battle happened, and well, there's that scene. It's shown up in a couple of Halo Infinite trailers now. It's Master Chief in the Pelican with the pilot, and they're looking at the screen hologram, and all of a sudden everything goes red, and showing you all these deceased UNSC
Oh.
personnel. So there's a lot of dead people somewhere around there, presumably within the immediate vicinity, if that, depending on how that how to scale that hologram is.
Well,
But
so
so
there's no
mhm.
infinity in any of the footage, right?
Not yet. One of the theories that people have had is that it, for whatever reason that we'll find out in the game, Infinity slammed into Installation '07. You see that huge chunk of it missing. Like an idea is that was caused by Infinity, which I personally don't want to see Infinity destroyed, but
Yeah.
if that's how it went out, that's a pretty badass way to go out. Like,
Right.
take out a giant chunk of an alien ring world. That's pretty good.
Yeah, well, like that's where all the characters that we met
Hmm.
in five, at least, are hanging out. Like Halsey
Hmm.
at the end of the multiplayer portion of the game. I think
Hmm.
she's on the Infinity. I know because of
Yep.
the text I read in the book.
Yep.
So that is a question left lingering. Is it possible they could have detonated the ship also because they have detonation
Yep.
capability?
That is certainly another possibility. Uh, and there might be other possibilities we haven't thought of yet. I'd personally like to think that Infinity had to retreat for some reason and
Is
maybe
okay.
cause that damage. Yeah, I'd like it to be okay. I like the Infinity. I like all the characters from from the ship that we know of. So I'd like it to stick around if it can. But
Well,
regardless, I don't think that key characters will likely be dead. I think we might see Tom Lasky again. Going back to your question about Blue Team, uh, there the it's interesting the cover Halo Shadows of Reach because the characters on there look like they're painted like right over actual 3D models, and like they just look really high quality, higher quality than you might expect, I guess, for a lot of people, at least. And so the theory is that they actually did model out or they wouldn't just model out these characters for a book cover. That must
mm,
mean they're in the game in some capacity. No idea what that capacity could be, but there is a possibility based on a book cover though. So, take that with how many grains of salt you feel it's worth. Uh, but that's where I stand on Blue Team, and I know a lot of other people do, but we'll have to wait and see.
is one of the things like so
Hmm.
one of the commenters pointed to me towards Shadow Reach. So I
Hmm.
only read like the last chapter because that's all I really had time to do. There's so much
Yeah,
in
fair
that book
enough.
that happens.
Yeah.
But one of the things that caught me was that uh, Halsey is so distraught by the fact that her Spartans were hurt, she like faints. Is Halsey okay, or is she like not doing so hot?
She's probably doing as well as someone at her age and her circumstances can be. I think that was just kind of emphasizing the mother like relationship she has with the Spartans. She actually sees them as her children,
Mhm.
which uh, actually no, I'm not gonna
No,
bring
no,
that
she
up.
does. I mean, she kidnapped them when they and made
No,
them.
she. I know
Yeah.
that. I was. It. It was a pointless side tangent. Just. It's kind of because she actually had a daughter, and even while her daughter was alive and around, she still prioritized the Spartans over her daughter.
Oh,
It's just so there's a cruel irony, I suppose, almost not necessarily cruel to Halsey, but cruel on Miranda's part
well,
that she was ignored and
you
all the
say
Spartans
that's
get all the love.
a pointless side tangent. I actually disagree. I think it adds a
I'm
lot of
sorry.
context to the
Okay.
characters. So
Okay.
like, don't doubt yourself. Like that's
Okay.
important
Sorry.
context. That not
That's one thing
like
I've always had an issue with doubting myself.
nah. You're great. I love your content, and I'm very excited to hear what you
Thank
have to
you.
say. So please
Thank
don't
you.
hold back and
I will
forget.
try not to.
I forgot that she had a daughter totally,
Yep.
and like that gives me additional context about why she reacts the way she does when she sees the Spartans injured because they are
Mm-hmm.
sort of her kids because she was like so connected to her work on them. I mean, she basically broke every law in the book to
Mm-hmm.
create the Spartans, right? So,
Yep.
yeah. Um so I asked about the ring and what was the other thing I was trying to ask you about?
I thought it was blue team. The situation with blue team and
Yeah.
the how the ring ended up the way it did.
Yeah, so do you have any more details about like the fate of blue team or are all those characters sort of left? We know the pilot, we know the weapon, we know chief.
And everything else is basically left in the wind.
Mhm.
I think they'll probably show up in some capacity, maybe minimal, uh, but I do think that they'll show up. I think we'll probably also see Locke at some point. I
Oh,
think.
I did
I'm
not like
sure. Yeah.
Locke.
Okay. Well, hopefully Halo 5 will, or sorry, not Halo 5. Halo Infinite will give him a better introduction for fans and maybe turn some opinions around. I like him, so I want other people to like him. Um, but yeah, we might see him. Uh, incidentally, as you might remember, or maybe some of your listeners might remember, one of the enemies for Halo Infinite, whose concept art they released, Hyperius, I think his name was. He actually has both Spartan Locke's faceplate from his Mjolnir helmet and his Mjolnir chest plate, like strapped to his shoulders.
Oh,
So a lot of people think Locke is dead. I don't think they're going to do that. But Locke probably suffered some serious injuries pretty recently, or
uh,
at least sometime prior to the setting of Halo Infinite.
to me, that's like a really great opportunity for them to
Mhm.
retcon Locke a little bit. If he is dead, did he die protecting like Halsey or Infinity in some way? Like, there's a
Mhm.
lot that they could do with that narratively. I hope that we like let's hypothetically say all these
Mhm.
beloved characters are dead, right?
Oh no.
Well, I don't want that either.
No,
I
I
mean,
know, I know, I
Halsey's
know.
one of my favorite characters in all the books because
That's
she's like
great.
kind of evil, but she's also not. It's just like a matter of
So
circumstance that
yeah,
she had to do these things. Basically, like, hey, all of humanity is going to die. Okay, well, I'm going to do some super illegal stuff, you know, or we're doomed. And she
yeah.
did it. So she's just really compelling in that respect. So, yeah. Uh,
But yeah, go ahead with your
where do you,
hypothetical. Everyone dies.
okay, yeah, yeah. So everybody dies. I think we do these missions and we get to learn more about the deceased characters. And if it has to be somebody that it has to be more than just the soldiers, the chief, it has to be somebody he was connected with for him to have this level of remorse. And even just like reading that one chapter of Shadows of Reach, I'm gonna read the whole book because like I actually
Hmm.
it's a trilogy, right?
Sort of yes, sort of no. It's the third one that's subtitled A Master Chief Story and heavily features Master Chief working with Blue Team. They're not necessarily a trilogy, at least that's what Troy Denning has kind of said,
Yeah.
but you can consider them a trilogy. I mean, Oblivion literally picks up right after, or Halo Oblivion picks up right after Halo Silent Storm, which are the first two Master Chief books. So Silent Storm's first, just to be clear. Silent Storm, Oblivion, Shadows of Reach. Um, but they make for a good trilogy for sure because Shadows of Reach, but though especially Oblivion, obviously reference um, Silent Storm. I keep wanting to say Last Light. It's the alliteration title that's throwing me off.
Last Light
It was
is the one
Silent
from
Storm.
Kelly or something light. That's one of
No,
the
that's also a Troy Denning.
is
Last
it
Light. You might be thinking of Halo Point of Light, which
Point
that
of
was the
Light.
recent Kelly Gay book. Kelly Gay book.
Hmm.
What did I just say? Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, well,
Stop touching the mic
those
again.
I have Renegades, which is part of that
Hmm.
trilogy. I
Yeah.
haven't read that one either. Like I
Point of
said, I
Light's
read the
really
first
good.
five. Renegades is good.
Renegades is good too. Yes.
Yeah,
I love the whole Kelly Gay the Ryan Forge trilogy. I guess for now, it's a very unconventional Halo story. It's not at all. It's like Firefly in Halo. It's weird. It's weird, but I love it.
I'll have to. I gotta read them. It's just like there's all these different games
Yeah,
trying to get your
believe
time. So, yeah.
believe me, I know. I just picked up the God of War lore book and was like spent a day reading through that.
Oh my goodness,
'Cause it's so good.
that'll be a good
It's
rabbit hole
so
to dive down. Anyway, getting back
oh
to my
God,
crazy
yes.
theory, everybody's dead.
Hmm.
We're gonna learn more about how they died in Halo Infinite, and I think we're gonna find at least lore entries, but I hope they're like voice acted at the very least entries that we get to experience throughout the story. So we get to
Yeah,
learn the fate of Locke, or at least the story of what
yeah.
happened there. I would love that.
Well, I think you're in luck then. A little while back, I don't remember exactly when, but they released an audio. Yeah, it was
That's
they
right.
released an audio log in in one of the Inside Infinite
And it's Halsey,
logs that
right?
they did. Yeah, the Halsey one.
Hmm.
And that's I initially thought that it was going to be the start of this ARG thing or just a series of things leading up, but no, it was apparently a audio log from the game. So yeah, it sounds like we're gonna get like fully voice acted and uh not just like because they had like sound effects in there too. So it's like it's almost like an audio drama more than just like Halo 5 where you're just kind of hearing somebody talk about stuff. I loved it. I love that stuff, don't get me wrong, but this time they're going a little further above and beyond than what they did previously. So,
Like I like as much as it caused the controversy, I love the
mhm,
Hunt the Truth series that before
mhm.
sort of teased us about what would happen in Halo 5 and then it didn't really pay off. But I love that.
It's
And
certainly not in the way people expected.
yeah, and then like you reminding me about the Halsey thing
Mhm.
actually seriously, it has me super stoked about the game now cuz I forgot they
Good.
teased that and
Yeah.
that's I love that sort of stuff cuz all this gameplay it's really really cool, but the level that just adds to it is when you're unlocking like big narrative beats or
Hmm.
contributing to like a larger world just in game design
Oh
in
yeah.
general. And if Halo manages to get that, I'm really really stoked.
Amen. I love looking for collectibles that build on the world like that.
Heck yeah. Last one I want to ask you about
Hmm.
was sort of the timeline again. So, just for my knowledge,
Hmm.
and maybe a listener or two,
Hmm.
2558, Halo 5 takes place. As
Yep.
of January 24th, 2559, the Infinity is still slip spacing every time they can, like jumping from place to place to avoid the Guardians, avoid Cortana, who's chasing them around, right? Is that correct?
January 2559, you said, right?
Correct.
Yep. Then yeah, you're correct.
October 7th, 2559, the Halo Shadow Reach book starts, so they go
Yep.
back to Reach. October 12th, 2559 is when the epilogue takes place.
Mhm.
Does anything else happen between that October date and the. Well, when do you think Halo Infinite starts, and does anything take place between your proposed start date
Yep.
and that epilogue?
Well, from the was it the yeah from the July 2020 demo that Ian, stop touching your microphone, Jesus.
I can't hear it at all. It's fine.
Okay, good. I can because my old microphone, if you touched it even slightly, you'd pick that all up. I know this one's sensitive, but I also have the gain. Anyway, so
It sounds
getting off
great.
topic. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I'll have to thank my buddy Luke who recommended it. Anyway, we're so July 2020 demo. It starts on I think the date was May 28th, 2560. So late May is when Halo Infinite will start because we don't know exactly how far into the campaign uh, that was set. But we know that 6 months prior to that, well, actually, it was also in that gameplay demo. Almost forgot. It actually says like 100 something days. I want to say 136, but I don't know if that's right. But it's like 100 something days since we lost. We being the UNSC, of course.
Hmm.
Um, so, and we know even from the more recent campaign overview that the weapon says I haven't seen you in 6 months. So it's been since sometime in December. You can calculate it based on the information from the 2020 demo,
December
but
59 or December 60?
December 2559. Thank you for
Okay.
clarifying for that.
Well, I was
Or
curious.
as yeah, and I forgot to say so. Thank you. So yeah, sometime mid probably December 2559. I don't remember exactly when, but the UNSC is on on Zeta Halo installation oh 07. They're most likely trying to attract Cortana using the weapon, the whole plan that they kind of talk about in the E3 campaign footage we just got
Hmm.
back in June. And then the Banished, at least according to one of the Halo Infinite blogs, ambushed the UNSC. Big old fight happened. A lot of UNSC folk died. And 6 months, and then, yes, then 6 months pass. We don't really know a whole lot yet right now about what happens in that time frame.
Well, wait.
But the
Do,
UNSC loses. 6 months later, Halo Infinite starts.
got it. But what about the scenes with the pilot where he finds Chief floating in the debris? Are there any hints there as to when that takes place?
That presumably is the end of the 6 month period, or that's the 6 months, and then right after that, that's when the campaign starts.
So we're
And the
in.
campaign,
Sorry, I'm
mhm,
trying to keep up. So
I
it's
know,
2560. It's like June 2560. Is that right?
just about. It's like late May 28th was the date that we had from the July 2020 demo.
Got it.
That could always change. I don't think it will, but that's the date that we have right now.
Okay.
That so we get presumably that to me seemed like it was really early in the game. Uh, so I presume that's probably the same day the pilot found the Master Chief, and then that was 6 months after the UNSC lost at Installation '07, which was December 2559.
Which is probably why the ring's blown up. Because
Yep,
they
that's most like
lost something.
and
Right.
yeah, and
Okay.
caused a lot of casualties.
Yeah, apparently. Jeez.
Hmm.
So how come the date September 19th, I'll say 2561 popped up there for a while? That was about a year ago. I think it was in
That
one
was
of the
from
trailers or recent.
2019's the 2019 trailer. I know it
Why?
feels more recent
Yeah.
because it's because of 2020, man. 2020 screwed with everyone's time. I swear.
So what do you think's up with that? The 2561 date?
That is an excellent question. My personal theory is that something changed during development. Maybe they wanted it to be 2561 for some reason. I had a theory, I think back then, that it would be 2562 as a reference to 20 because it's 10 years more than 2552. Uh, that was really my only logic. Uh, but it was also like, hey, here's a fun idea they might do. But yeah, then the very next trailer, I don't remember. I think that was it. Yeah, it was during the July 2020 Xbox event. That's when the 2561 date became September 19th, I think it was 2559. And then we got the demo the right afterwards that said, May 2560. So I I don't know what happened. Actually, I
It
think
has to
there
be.
was an old.
I bet we're going to
I think
jump
there
around in time. I I
maybe
think it's
I
really
know
that
that's been an
simple,
old theory.
right? Yeah.
It very well could be. There may be some, but the only thing that's weird about that is the 2561 day came up in a sequence that was supposed to be the opening of the game. But you know what? Developers push things around. Maybe they put that in there as a deliberate red herring. I wouldn't be too surprised because some people might not remember. I'll be curious if this still holds over in the final game, but there were a bunch of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate codes for like 6 months or a month or something like that. But they were giving all these codes away in the trailer. So if you slowed it down frame by frame, you could spot that.
Mm,
So maybe they put in the 2561 date as a red herring just
maybe.
to screw with people. I wouldn't put it past a developer to do that.
Uh,
And I don't mean that as a bad thing.
no,
Just
no,
to
no.
be clear, I'm fine with like, oh, let's hide something from the trailer for the sake of, what we think is suspense. Okay, whatever, cool, do it.
Well, I know this was like really I'll call it loosey goosey where we're sort of talking about Halo Infinite or whatever. But I'll be honest with you, it may seem that way to the audience. I feel like I have a better understanding of what the heck is going on because I'm so lost. Like at the end of Halo 5, Cortana's the big bad and she doesn't
Hmm.
die. We don't kill her. She's actually chasing you around like in I think even in the
Hmm.
multiplayer missions that came out later. I don't really remember what happens there, but I know we save Halsey. I believe that whole thing was just basically save Halsey and get her on the Infinity, right?
That was the start of Halo 5,
Oh. Oh yeah, by the end, Gerald,
and
whatever
and
is there and
yeah,
yeah.
and he's yeah, that was the end of the mission where Jewel gets killed and the entire fan base was upset.
Yeah.
um,
But Halsey's
upset.
back.
Yeah, but Halsey's back.
What if they it would be so bad if they just kill her at Infinite now cuz like
We
we
went through all that effort for what?
yeah, right? Uh pretty cool stuff. So yeah, I feel like I have a better understanding. So we know
Yeah.
we don't really know what happened to Cortana or if she's in hiding
Nope.
or what happened. We know a lot of people died. I have a better understanding. I'm actually going to take an L on my impression of the new AI because if she is a red herring, it's going to be in my opinion, a great payoff. I understand why she would be
Mhm.
dumb, or I'm going to use the term naive from now on, because she's not dumb. She's a
Mhm.
program, right? She's not even a real thing, but she's as a character. I think she's going to flesh out a lot more throughout the campaign, and I actually
Mhm.
do like it. Given the context that you've given me, I actually do like her more as a character, because
That's
she's
good.
Halsey, but she's like 6 months old, right? That's cool. Are you're all into that, right? Like, do you like her
Oh
as a
yeah.
character?
Yeah, I've honestly enjoyed her. And quick credit to Jen Taylor for quick credit to Jen Taylor for essentially making a third version of the same character and somehow making the voice distinct.
Right.
Like if you put the weapons voice, Cortana's voice, and Halsey's voice up against each other, I think anyone would be able to at least tell that those are like supposed to be three different people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I can at least always definitely tell the difference.
that's great
And I think
ranges
most people
and
can. Yeah.
as a voice actress, right?
Yep. Yep. Credit to her as a voice actress.
Yeah.
Ah.
I didn't even ask you about the big bad, the villains. Maybe real
Oh,
quick. Who's the
yeah, go
main
for it.
villain, and he just wants to kill everything, right? Like, why are the Banished so mad?
The I'm actually very curious about why the Banished are so bad too. I like it might just be that the UNSC was in its way, so get out of our way, fools.
Yeah.
Whatever that, and that resulted in some bad stuff for the Infinity and the UNSC, I presume. But yeah, we had that right now. You have the Banished led by Eshram. Atriox so far has not been seen except for in hologram form in the far, far distance of the recent trailer. So I honestly didn't notice him at first. I saw someone point it out on Twitter, and I'm like, "Oh crap! Rewrite the script! Rewrite the script!"
That's cool.
Because I almost missed that detail, and I wish I remember where I saw that. But somebody pointed out that it was Atriox, and
I
like,
love
okay,
that.
I can't miss this. Yeah. And then we have this new big bad, Harbinger, whatever she is. She has some grudge with the Forerunners, says the time of Forerunner lies is over or something, or they'll be exposed. I can't remember what it was. And it's like, I am the Harbinger of truth. You are not the future. As she throws Master Chief like 50 feet away or something, 20 feet away. It's somewhere in that range.
Very far.
But very far into a rock which breaks under his pressure. So I gotta say I love seeing the chief get thrown around like that. So I think the cutscenes are going to be very fun.
Yeah.
But
I've liked what I've seen thus far. I'm really excited,
mhm.
and just thank you for sitting down and talking to me, because
Yeah,
sometimes
it's
you
been
just
my
need
pleasure, man. This is fun.
yeah, you just need to call somebody up and just be like, "Hey, you know more than I do. Can you help me figure this out? Like, what's going
Yeah,
on?" And I got to read the Halo books again. At least that Chief trilogy that just came out, because
yep. I highly recommend it. Shadows of Reach is really darn good. I really, really loved Silent Storm. I was skeptical with that book going in. I was really worried about what it was going to mean for X, Y, and Z. It doesn't really matter anymore because I was dead wrong. And I just loved it. I loved every page, every word. I loved that book, man. It's so good. I
great.
love Silent Storm.
Oh, yeah. So like those are probably the ones you have to read to have context for Halo Infinite, or at least know the events thus far, right? Reading material wise.
Well, if you want to be best prepared for Halo Infinite, Halo Shadows of Reach is probably really the only thing you absolutely need to read.
Hmm.
Because to be clear, the idea with 343's goal with Halo Infinite is to basically have people, no matter what your foreknowledge, basically come in with the same level of knowledge, which is you don't know what's going on. You just know you have the chief, you have this pilot, you have this weapon, and some bad stuff's going down, and you got to stop it. And then you find out along the way, yeah, like that's along the way. That's how your questions get answered. Why is the ring like this? How did things happen like this? What? Who is Harbinger? What is Harbinger? So,
Great. Well, okay.
but
I could
Shadows of
probably
Reach
read
can get
one
you the
book before
yeah.
December 8th.
Then I would say Shadows of Reach is probably the one to read.
Good. Hey, yeah, thanks so much. This has been
Yeah.
really fun. Just talking and getting to learn more
Hmm.
about like what's going on in the universe and remembering about those audio logs. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Where can people watch your videos? Because you all you do is you cover Halo. It's probably one of my favorite Halo YouTube channels. So
Yeah.
where can people find it for
Thank
those who
you.
don't know?
Well, you can find me on YouTube as Halo Canon. That's Canon, not canon like see it like you shoot. Um, and you can find me on Twitter at Toa_freak, TOA_freak. Toa is in Bionicle, if anyone's curious, because someone's going to ask, I'm sure.
Well, hey, thank you so
And
much. I'm gonna get out of here. Of course, you can watch me right here. So I'll see y'all very soon. Bye for now.